There's only two remedies I can think of for the maladies of America, and one of them is a real long shot called the Convention of States. The founders set it up where if we can get something like 31 states agree together, they could actually flip over and change this power of the centralized government. But the man that most fascinates me is Sam Brownback, Ambassador Sam Brownback for Religious Liberty under the Trump administration, the senator and the governor of Kentucky and a congressman. And he tells a story of his own battle with cancel culture that'll blow your mind. But I want you to hear it right here on the Lance Wallnau Show. And by the way, I know it seems strange to put a man of the category of Senator Brownback with Mike Lindell, but I love Mike Lindell. Every night I get into my Mike Lindell bathrobe, I put on my cozy Mike Lindell slippers, and every morning I wake up to my Mike Lindell coffee. And Mike Lindell's in a battle with the government. He's in battle with every force of evil taking America down. I want you to go to MyPillow.com, and if you use promo code Lance, you get up to half off of everything I just said. The phenomenal slippers, the bathrobe, and I'm wearing this. I'm telling you, that I am a Mike Lindell guy, and the coffee. MyPillow.com, MyPillow.com, and promo code Lance. That's right, promo code Lance. And I'll see you in the broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lance Wallnau Show. And right now I have one of my most distinguished guests, a man who served, now listen to this, I don't know anyone I've ever, in living history, that's been a congressman, a governor, a senator, and an ambassador. This man, Sam Brownback, has the humility to handle all those titles, and yet anyone who meets him would feel like you're talking to Lincoln in Springfield. He's just a regular American, but yet a man who carries himself with such panache that I want you to hear from him personally, his experience as the ambassador for religious freedom, especially knowing the battle he's gone through in the United States. We're going to talk about all that, but I have to ask you, what was your role in that famous speech that the Christian community probably missed? United Nations, Donald Trump is addressing the nations. And in his own casual way, he says he heard statistics about Christian persecution and thought they were exaggerated. Then he made an inquiry, this can't be right. And then he heard about it. And he makes this matter-of-fact statement to all the heads of state in the United Nations. What in the world is going on? And he starts taking them to task for the persecution of Christians. This is one of the most phenomenal moments I've ever seen in global diplomacy. It must have shocked you. What was happening there? What's behind the scenes there?
You know, well, it's kind of classic Donald Trump, honestly. I mean, it's him seeing a problem, the people around him gathering it, and then him just boldly laying it out there, where nobody else nobody had ever gathered the leaders of the world to talk about religious persecution ever before in the UN history. And people in the White House, we had a moment where he was going to be speaking at the UN. The people at the White House said, let's speak about religious persecution because it is happening all over the world. It's the root cause of genocide. Almost every genocide the last 100 years has been of a religious minority. It's the root of the clash of civilizations. Civilizations are built on religion. And you get these religions clashing, you're going to have a clash of civilization. And they finally said, let's nail this one and go at it. And Donald Trump, to his great credit, was willing to do that, did that. We organized a number of leaders from around the world to talk together about it. And then he puts it forward in his speech. And I remember being in a taxi cab leaving the UN, just going, this is amazing. I have never seen this happen before. Never seen it.
Folks, it was only because the impeachment articles were dropped on that same news cycle. It's almost like, to me, it was like the devil stomping out the momentum of addressing persecution. I mean, every head of state was there. He was calling out names. It was just phenomenal. Christians, I don't know if we'll ever have someone who actually was more of a friend to the cause of Christ in the Oval Office. I hope it's not the last, but that man was a friend. Now, you were the ambassador for religious freedom. And what's amazing is it was a nail biter, even you being the ambassador. It's a unique office because, I mean, was this the first time? Were you the first one?
No, I was the fifth one. It's a statutorily created office by Congress. I was in Congress when we created the position. But, yeah, I was a 49-49 vote in my own old Senate colleagues that a number of them voting against me off of partisan purposes. It became a complete partisan vote, and Mike Pence has to break the vote to make me ambassador.
Well, thank you, Mike Pence. You
Yes.
did that one right. Glad Mike did that one. So, quick question: Donald Trump did mention during his UN speech that Mike Pompeo was implied to be involved with some initiative that would be a follow-through. Do you remember that at all? So he had mentioned in his speech that it was his intention to do more in the area of addressing persecution, and that Mike Pompeo would be involved. What would that have looked like? I don't want to be too nostalgic, but what if he had another term, where would that have gone?
I think we would have made religious freedom a cornerstone human right issue. And by that, I mean, it's been a human right issue, but it's been kind of a boutique issue, considered, okay, this is kind of something you do for people of faith, but it's not a mainstream. We would have mainstreamed religious freedom, because if you can get religious freedom right, you can build your other human rights off of it, like freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and these sort of things. If you get religious freedom right, religion freedom is the one group. Religion's the one group that can stand up to a government. It's the only institution that's out there that actually can have enough adherence and enough strength and enough commitment to it that it can stand up to a government. And governments know that. So you want religious freedom, so you have religions that are there that it can stand up and oppose the government.
Man, I wish every atheist and secularist and agnostic would think about that this is your safeguard against totalitarian government, is to have a vibrant religious community.
Absolutely, and to protect that right so they can organize. So recently in Nicaragua, they started throwing out the Catholic churches and the bishops in jail, and Ortega's left the Catholics alone for the last 25 years. What changed? A year and a half ago, Nicaragua was recognizing Taiwan, and then they switched to recognizing China in their allegiance of foreign policy. They said, we're going to drop Taiwan and go with China. Well, now the Chinese, they're on to religion. They know what brought the Soviet Union down. What brought Poland down is when the Pope shows up in Poland and says, be not afraid. And so they're telling their people that are associated with China, you've got to crush religion. Whatever it is in your country, you've got to get it under your control, and they have to be crushed, or they can dislocate you. And that's what you're seeing play out even right now in real time in Nicaragua.
All right, so it comes down to at home, how do we protect our freedom? And you, of all people, an ambassador, senator, congressman, governor, for you to be specifically targeted. I was hit by Bank of America. You were hit by Chase Bank. Tell the people the story about how woke capitalism manifests that, almost like that CCP spirit of punishing religious independence.
Well, we still don't know why. I've gotten 4 or 5 different reasons as to why, but we started the National Committee for Religious Freedom. It was a 501c4 to stand up for religious freedom, the Free Exercise Clause in the United States. Nothing is more American. Not even a hot dog or apple pie is more American than religious freedom, because that's why people came here in the first place, was for religious freedom. We started it, we stood it up, we opened a bank account at Chase Bank, and less than a month later, the bank account was closed down. We didn't get a chance to repair any deficits that they saw in the account. I just went in to make a deposit at a local branch that we had in Kansas to help get the thing up and going, and they said the account's closed. And we go, what? What have we done? And they said, I don't know. Says that corporate account's been closed. Your money's going to be received back. And they said, well, it was because we were concerned about this, or you're a person of, you're a politically exposed person, or, I mean, we got these various reasons. And at the end of the day, we still don't know. But they didn't open the account back up. They at one point said, well, we want to know who your major contributors are to this account. And we're saying, well, we protect the privacy of people that contribute to this. We're not going to give you that information. And they just closed it down. And we still don't know why.
What remedied it? So what made them open it back up?
They didn't.
They didn't?
No, still hasn't.
I actually missed the end of the story. I thought that
No.
You mean right now Chase Bank shut you down and they didn't give you a reason, and they're not giving you a reason?
No. Not giving no, I take that back. They've given me 5 reasons. But they're all different reasons. And so we had a shareholder resolution that Alliance Defending Freedom helped us get that up. They did the work for it last week at the J.P. Morgan annual meeting, saying do an internal audit to see if this is happening in your company. And their CEO says, it doesn't happen in our company. We don't need to apologize for it. The resolution failed. The resolution failed in front of the shareholders. But this is something we've got to start pushing back against a lot more, Lance. You have a free exercise right in this country, and you shouldn't be shut down by companies just because
I hear the thunder of the Almighty. In this very place, I hear the lightnings of God. I am so provoked. Lord God, give me 2 million. 2 million followers that will act as one, because I would love to flood these websites. I would love to just damage their PR machine and make them have to do damage control. The only way these woke corporations are gonna behave themselves is if there's fiscal consequences to their decisions.
But we've got tools we've never used. Most of these big companies, if the people would vote their stock the way they vote in a polling booth, would be big red companies. They'd be big red states.
I don't think. Do you think they know that? Do you think they know that? Do you think the average person is?
No, most people.
Break it down for us.
I'm saying that people need to start voting to put on people of faith on the board of directors of these big companies, and we'd be doing a service to the world if you got a person of sincere faith on the J.P. Morgan board of directors. And
hear that?
We generally own the company. And you're now starting to see state treasurers organize and saying, well, we're not going to put our state pension funds in these accounts that have gone all to radical left-wing agendas. And we need people to start getting organized to push back against these companies with the ownership interest that they have in these companies, to put people on the board of directors, and to honestly, just to get the company, just stick to your business. Don't be a part of a social movement from the left or the right.
Right.
Just be a business company. Just be a bank. Just be a beer manufacturer. Don't be trying to socially move.
Don't be the bank of Bud Light. So who's doing your banking now?
We'd moved to Bank of America.
Bank of America. Well,
the one that fired you, I
well,
think.
Yes. Well, they were only 2 weeks. At least they brought me back in.
Okay.
In your case, Chase chased you away. Well, Bank of America.
We started a campaign called Chased Away.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, that you can go on our website, thencrf.org, and if you have a similar story of being deplatformed, fired by your provider, let us know, because we want to get that into state attorney generals and members of Congress to investigate these. This should not be happening in this country.
All right, so we only have a few minutes left. Where do they go to do this?
thencrf.org. That's the website, thencrf.org. And then click on our Chased Away campaign if you've been chased away by somebody. Or help us start state affiliates. We've just stood this organization up last year. We need a state affiliate in every state. We need Floridians for religious freedom, to fight for religious freedom in the local and the state level, for the school board, for the state legislature, and against companies that are pushing some sort of radical left agendas.
This is the plan, people. We're going to see this happen. And as you're looking at your next year, what is the most important priority for you? Where do you see your energies going as we're moving into even this next election cycle? Do you have a vision for what your engagement's going to be?
I don't have a full one for it, Lance, but one of the things I think we have to do is really make religious freedom a centerpiece human right in America.
Okay.
It is key, but we've not made it actionable. We're winning cases in front of the U.S. Supreme Court. We've got to win it in the culture. We've got to start making it such that these companies, look, I'm not just going to fire you because you're socially conservative or because you're Christian associated. I'm going to stop. We're not even going to think about that anymore. We've really got to get active, both in the commercial space and in the political space.
Well, we need to do that. We need to work with you on that. We need to work with Alliance Defending Freedom.
Yes.
And keep supporting that. I'm going to be bringing that up to our people more and more. And I listened to Dinesh D'Souza last week. I was at Andrew Womack's Truth and Liberty. He had a great little fundraiser for his social media company and the work that they're doing as a 501c4 on getting these stories out. And Dinesh said that Costco had canceled his book, when President Obama was in office, because the CEO is friends with Eric Holder and Obama. So they just, as a favor, they canceled the book. So one friend of his, who's a business partner, did a very smart thing. He put out a piece of journalism saying, CEO of Costco cancels immigrant entrepreneur because he doesn't like his work. Something like that. But he played on the idea of this poor immigrant, which is Dinesh D'Souza, which is hardly a poor immigrant. But anyway, all the Dinesh D'Souza fans were outraged at Costco had shut his book down and pulled it off the shelves. So he said 14,000 of them, without him doing anything, went and started trashing the Costco website. Now, this isn't your disposition. You're such a gentleman and a diplomat. But here's what he said. They went and they said, everything's bad. The food's bad. The vacuum cleaners don't work. The carpeting's bad. It's hot. It's cold. And so the CEO called him up and said, there's a campaign of people cutting their executive cards. They're sending in pictures of them cutting their Costco card. And it's creating a movement of 14,000 people canceling Costco. What have we got to do to fix this? And Dinesh said, no, I didn't create the problem. So this is up to you to fix it. You're a bad CEO. You're letting politics get in the way of giving people what they want. So within a week, they had ordered 25,000 books, put his book back on the shelf, and said they'll have a special display for Dinesh D'Souza's next book when it comes out. And his point was this. It's our passivity and our unwillingness to rattle the pots and pans that makes us look weak, and it makes us look like an easy prey to people that are bullies in the marketplace like this. And that if we don't do what we are called to do, and we don't stand up, in some kind of collective way, that we can expect to be continuously marginalized and suppressed. But he said that he learned a lesson then, and that is that the left respects your strength when you demonstrate it. And so somehow we need to demonstrate that strength.
Absolutely. And, honestly, Bud Light is a really good example of that. I mean, they are hurting because of people standing up saying, look, I don't want you to be preaching to me in beer. I just want to have a beer.
Yeah.
And that I think is really going to be a helpful thing. It's just we've got more tools than what we know we have. We've got ownership in a lot of these companies. The conservative movement does if it got organized. We've got a bad ability to impact these. And these big companies, you change one of their structures and the way they're going, it has a global impact. JP Morgan has a global impact. Meta has a global impact. We can help the world if we get these guys just to stick to your business. Don't be in the social change.
And I'm sorry to say, then the only way that's going to happen is if there's pain associated with the administration, because the left is gaining power. So to them, it's they're influencing these corporations actually to stop doing business and start doing politics. Well, is it appropriate to call you senator, ambassador? Because I've known you as governor as all, but is ambassador the proper? Aren't you an ambassador for life in a sense?
No. Actually, you're not supposed to hold that title. Once you're out of office, you don't hold that title anymore.
I got
the
you.
others you can call, but yeah, I mean, you go by current title, and that's Grandpa. I've got
See what I
8
mean?
grandchildren,
What a
so it's
likable,
Grandpa.
What a genuinely humble man. Thank you for being on our
Good
show.
to see you again.
We look
Thanks.
forward to supporting you, helping you, and hearing from you in the future.
Sounds good. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Looks like you've been sleeping well,
Megan, he's back. The MyPillow guy.
and you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, MyPillow 2.0. When I invented MyPillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. MyPillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature-regulating thread. MyPillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of MyPillow.
The best sleep just got even better. Whether you have a MyPillow or not, you need to get the brand new MyPillow 2.0. Call or go to MyPillow.com now. Use your promo code, and for a limited time when you buy one, you'll get a second one absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
Visit MyPillow.com.
Welcome back to the Lance Wallnau Show. And, you know, by the way, I think we're turning the corner on like 10 million to 11 million downloads. We've only been in this thing for like, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years. So it's been a learning experience. But what's happening for me is I'm finding out who the subject matter experts are. Everybody has opinions, right? But not everybody knows what they're talking about. Mark Meckler was recommended to me. First time I'm meeting him right now. You're meeting him when I'm meeting him. But you were recommended to me because of the importance of the subject of the Convention of States. And I don't think the vast majority of this audience even knows what that means. But I remember Jerry Boykin, General Jerry Boykin, Family Research Council, years ago told me that is one of the remedies to America's problem. It just requires a populist movement with enough urgency to use the remedies. So explain to us what this is.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Most people are not aware of it. I'm a lawyer, and I wasn't aware it was in the Constitution until 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Article 5 of the Constitution says that if 2/3 of the states decide to do so, they can gather in a convention, they can propose amendments, and in the case we're talking about specifically, to take power away from the federal government and give it back to the people and the states. So that's really what we're organized to do.
All right, so break that down for me even more so that it's irrefutably simple. Who is going to represent the states? Is it the Senate, the Congress, the legislators of the states? Who's the key agency here?
So the federal government is not involved at all. This is a way that the founders intended for us to wire around the federal government. They said in 1787 there was a chance the federal government would get out of control and the people would have to have a remedy for wiring around the federal government. So they gave us a method whereby the state legislatures, the houses and the senates of the states,
legislators.
so they have the power to do something nobody else can do. They can call a convention, they can propose amendments to the Constitution, and they can ratify those amendments. Congress isn't involved, courts aren't involved, the president's not involved. This is really the power of the people to reign in Washington, D.C.
Wow. And I have I have for the last year believed that the sovereignty of the states from the federal government is part of the remedy for if you can't save the whole nation, you can quarantine your village, and your state has certain sovereign capacities, and the legislators are the key there. And so 3,143 counties in the United States.
Right.
I don't know how many legislators there are, but how's it going? How's the progress on this going?
It's going great. There are actually over 7,000 state legislative districts in the country.
Okay,
so
I needed that.
That's how we work, is by state legislative district. And currently, out of the 34 necessary states, 19 states have called for this convention of states already. So we're well over halfway there. Right now, today, literally, we're working in North Carolina. The Senate, or the House in North Carolina has already passed it. The Senate is about to pass it. That'll be state number 21, continuing to move towards that number of 34 states to call the convention.
Wow. You think it can happen?
Yeah, I absolutely think it can happen. You talked about General Boykin talking about it needed to be a populist movement. That's really what it needs. There are over 5 million people involved today. Convention of States has now 5.3 million people involved. We have volunteers in every single state legislative jurisdiction around the country, every congressional jurisdiction around the country. We've got folks in those places. So, yeah, I believe not only can we make it happen, but we are making it happen right now.
So here's something I'm doing. I want to invite you in on. I'm working with evangelist Mario Murillo. I'm also working with Flashpoint, which is Kenneth Copeland's Victory Channel, Gene Bailey News Channel, right?
Very familiar with those guys.
We do these big rallies, anywhere from 2,500 to 7,000. And what I'm now looking at is having pastors identify with the populist movement as leaders.
Absolutely.
Independent business owners identifying with the populist movement, because if I can get business owners and pastors, I can have a legislative luncheon. So suppose I have 75 churches or 100 churches and 200 independent business owners, requesting lunch with the state legislators because they want to be better aligned with who they're going to vote for. And so when we look at swing states, give me the report card for how's Arizona look in its journey towards a convention of states.
Already passed.
Already passed?
Yeah.
All right. How does Georgia look?
Already passed.
This is sounding optimistic now. I'm a little concerned about Nevada.
Nevada has not passed yet, and I'm concerned about Nevada. So one of the things we do is we also work electorally, and we're going to work to turn Nevada red again. That's part of the plan.
So Nevada is one of the places we're going.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're actually going to join this effort with 7 swing states we're going to go to have that legislative lunch. You
Happy to do it, and glad to be with you guys. Our activists work on pro-life issues. They work on Second Amendment issues. They work on election reform issues. Anything that conservatives care about, our folks are in the field on those things. And we know all those legislators already. We're working in those legislatures every day.
What are we going to do with Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania, I think, right now is one of the most difficult states. I would argue the Republican Party messed that up as badly as you possibly can. Worse than any other state.
I'm from Bucks County, Pennsylvania. I'm telling you, Pennsylvania is Meshuggah.
Yeah.
We got to go to Pennsylvania. Wisconsin.
Already passed.
What? Come on now. Michigan?
Michigan's another problem state. I mean,
Michigan.
the Republican Party screwed itself up there really badly, so we're going to have to work to reflip that state.
We're going to go jerk the slack out of the Republican Party. I got Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina, you said just came
North
on?
Carolina, we're halfway through the legislature there. Great relationships there in the legislature. Ohio, I would say. I mean, you could, I guess, call Ohio swing state. Ohio is a weird state right now. They had a weird thing happen in their House of Representatives.
What? Explain to us.
So, and this is actually really important, Lance, because this is part of the plan of the radical left in America. So you've got Republicans that control both the House and the Senate. The Republican caucus had elected a guy by the name of Derek Marin to be the speaker. Very good conservative guy. And unfortunately, a guy by the name of Jay Stevens conspired with 33 Democrats. Jay is a Republican, quote unquote. He conspired with all the Democrats in the House and the squishy Republicans, and he got elected speaker. And in doing so, he killed all the conservative, pro-life.
He's a Republican rat.
Republican rat.
Yeah, I can't. I'll find the word.
So that's a weird legislature. We're going to have to throw him out. We're going to have to throw those 22 Republicans out.
What's his name again?
Jay Stevens.
Jay Stevens. You people know. Put that on your little prayer list there. Okay, so
I think Ohio looks good for us. We'll have to get rid of him. I think we'll do that in the next cycle, and then we'll pass Ohio.
Now, I don't want to be the bad news guy, but can they reverse this decision?
Yeah, they can. In the same way they passed it, they could pass a resolution.
So we got to hold on the momentum where you've already got the 19 or the 20.
Yeah,
we got to keep the 20 and get over to another 14.
Yeah, and I actually like that part of it because it keeps my activists in gear, right? They have to stay in the legislature. They have to educate new legislators because legislatures turn over. And so our folks stay in there, and that gives them the opportunity to work pro-life and all this other stuff.
All right, so how do people get in touch with you? Mark Meckler, I love what you're doing. Co-founder of the largest grassroots political organization aligned with the Tea Party movement and the Tea Party Patriots. How do they keep connected with you?
Go to conventionofstates.com, sign the petition to let your legislators know you're in favor, and then, most importantly, Lance, click the Take Action tab, because folks can listen. That's not going to change America. Folks got to take action. conventionofstates.com.
Click to take action, and when you do, write in your comments section, whether it's on Facebook or on Rumble or on YouTube, whatever, tell me you did. Tell me you did, because I want to know. Normally I do a hashtag or some way that I could track our group so I can get behind it. But I'll just talk to them later and see who did it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lance. Appreciate everything you're doing. Look forward to working with you.
This is going to be great. Convention of States, the founders knew the federal government would have a moment like this.
Absolutely.
And they created a remedy, just like the Electoral College, just like everything else. Let's preserve the nation. We're going to have to organize. We're going to have to mobilize. That's not news for my group. They understand that. Well, that was Mark Meckler. And you know what he told me afterwards? That he helped to launch the original Tea Party movement. If I'd known that, I would have asked him some questions. I asked him, I said, tell me about the Tea Party movement. Is it, do you feel like we got the same thing now? He said, better. because with the Tea Party movement, you had older people that were frustrated over the fiscal policies of government, which still are lousy. He said, but now you've got the Charlie Kirk younger generation, believe it or not, as millennials are maturing, they're becoming more and more conservative. So they're coming out of the adolescent thinking and starting to look at jobs and workplace in the future and realizing cities are dangerous, etc. So it has a longer tail, meaning it's going to last longer. God has a generation that's ready to be activated in the United States, and I believe that these Tea Party patriots and Convention of States people are going to be the key factor in where we're going to go. Not an easy task, though, I'll tell you that, getting 31 states to sign off. But the more miserable people get, the easier it's going to be to reach the legislators. Because, where we're losing is in the cities, right? So it's Austin and Dallas and Houston. For some reason, the strongholds spiritually, the more concentrated the population, the more power the darkness. More powerful the darkness is. So they tend to go Democrat. But it's the rural areas the founders put out there that have the balancing factor. That's where we have the legislative advantage. We can win in the rural areas, and we can have a convention of states. We're going to make that an agenda item. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again on our next broadcast. You don't want to miss the Lance Wallnau Show.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to navigate the world.